Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Chill Survival series. Today we're going to build an automatic sheep farm so we can collect wool, and so our sheep finally have a proper home. We have a really fun project ahead of us today, so let's get started. Jeez, what a lousy day for weather. So in the last episode, we made a new addition to this base by making a lovely spot for our bees to live in. The Sniffers have one of the coolest sanctuaries to ever exist. I mean, come on, they have a skate ramp. The cows have this cozy little barn, and as for the sheep, well, yeah. They're still stuck in this tiny pen that I put them in on, like, day one. I'm sorry, I know, that's on me. Although there's probably a lot of really useful things to be done around this base, like the fact that I desperately need unbreaking on some of these tools. I just feel really bad for these guys. So I think today it's finally time that we build them a proper spot and get them out of this rain. Speaking of which, I need to get out of it as well. These boots have a hole in them and I don't want to get my feet wet. All right, let's get to bed so we have a fresh day to work on everything. So if we're going to be building a sheep farm today, I think I would really like for some of it to be automatic. Now, I don't think I need every single color of wool that there is. However, I would like to have my most frequently used automated. Now, if we want to automate this thing, we're going to have to make a couple of redstone components today. Now, we pretty much have all the materials we need to make the redstone stuff. Another thing that we're going to need for this farm, though, are hoppers and rails. As you can see, we only have 2 hoppers left, plus not a lot of iron. So I think you all know what that means. It's cave exploration time. But what better way to start off a project with a good old adventure? And also, since we are talking about projects that we really need to get done, add iron farms to the list for sure. Because, you know, going down into these caves all the time, I mean, we can handle ourselves. We're pros after all, but it does get a little bit tiresome from time to time. Ow! Ouch. Oh, there's some iron right there. Oh my gosh. There's just a group of creepers over there, though. I will be avoiding that. I think I'm just gonna bridge over top of these guys. And let's scoop some of this up. Oh, there's diamonds there. I feel like I've walked past these diamonds like 5,000 times, yet somehow I always miss them. Sweet. All right, iron. Where are you at? Whee! Oh, look at all of that. Excellent. Except it looks like I gotta get through all these guys first. Handling it like a pro. Bye-bye. Oh, look at this. There's so much. All right, let's collect some of this iron up. Might as well collect some of this gravel too, because we always need it for coarse dirt. All right, we're at a stack in a bit. That should be good. I'm just gonna check a couple of these. Whoa! Definitely can't complain about some more diamonds, that's for sure. All right, let's grab all of this, plus that diamond. So lucky. And I think, oh, even more. Okay, we're getting real lucky. I think after this, though, we should be pretty much good with all of the stuff that we've grabbed. Although a little bit of granite wouldn't hurt either. All right, I say we have more than enough goodies, so I think it's time to head on out of here. There we go, home sweet home. So we actually did quite well in those caves. Now, let's begin by burning up some of this iron, and I am going to magically sort this inventory in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, look at that! Crazy, right? The magic of editing. Well, I didn't edit far enough that my iron's done yet, so I'm just gonna grab whatever we have and get started on figuring out this build. So let's grab some of the redstone materials that we're gonna need along with a chest and figure out a perfect spot for this sheep farm. Now, of course, the sheep are part of the farmland, so we're definitely gonna keep it relatively close to our barn. And honestly, I was kind of picturing the sheep farm to go somewhere within this area. Now, the question is, how much do we terraform? I feel like this layer of dirt has to go for sure. It's either that or we're gonna have to expand it out for some more space, but then it's gonna get a little bit too close to this fencing. So I think the solution is definitely to kind of shave off this area over here and flatten it out to this level. Yeah, this is totally gonna tear into my shovel because it doesn't have unbreaking. That's okay though, we will fix that soon. Well, I forgot that I covered up a bunch of entrances to caves, so I will definitely have to patch these up. And we'll do a quick little patch. Yeah, I feel like this is a pretty good amount of space to work with. Now, my next question is, which way do we want to face this farm? So we could face it this way, so it's kind of facing the barn, or we could face it this way, so it's kind of what you see when you walk up this path. Honestly, I feel like facing it so it's what you see when you walk up the path would be kind of cool. Then it's an introduction to all of like the farmland with the animals. So if we're gonna be facing the build this way, I wanna give us a little bit more space to work with. Whether we build the sheep farm close to the path or a little bit further back, I just wanna make sure I have enough space to work with. Plus it would give us space for another potential farm build down the road. Alright, I think that should be more than enough room. Now let's lay down our chests, and we'll pop in some of the materials we need for this build. So I think we're ready to begin planning this thing out. So of course I want to start with the structure. Now we have a really consistent theme running across this base with the oak and the spruce, and also within the farmland. So as you can see, I've used a lot of granite and brick, and I kind of mimicked that with the sugarcane farm over here as well. So I think I would like to incorporate those blocks into the build to keep things in theme with one another. Now we also don't want our builds looking too much of the same, so of course we're gonna add in a couple of different blocks that suit this palette, and of course change up the shape. So we are gonna need some spruce, which means we're gonna need a new tree cutting area because the greenhouse that we built the other day kind of took that spot away. So let's grab our spruce saplings, which we have a bunch of, and a bunch of bone meal, and let's go pick out a spot to gather up some materials. Now I actually think it would be super cute to make a little tree cutting area sometime, but that might be a project that would be better suited for a stream. In the meantime, I am just gonna start bone mealing some spruce trees over here because as you can see, I have been doing that with azalea trees for the leaves, and this is just my little spot away from the base where it doesn't really matter what it looks like at the moment. Now let's start gathering up some spruce here. So yeah, if any of you are interested, I do stream from this world on YouTube. If you go under my live tab on the channel, you can see some of the old VODs. We usually tend to work on small little fun projects around the base, such as fixing up paths, farmland, just small little projects that kind of add up and help bring this base to life. So if that's something you're interested in watching, I usually stream weekly on Mondays at 12 p.m. EST. Alright, I would say this is a pretty good amount of spruce for what we need today. Now since we're sticking in theme with a lot of builds across the base, that means we're gonna need some oak as well. Okay, I grabbed quite a bit of oak. Probably a lot more than what we actually need. However, a lot of these builds get really expensive for that material, especially because we use stripped logs. So I think it's better just to not worry about having enough of one material. Now I'm just gonna stash all of this stuff away very quickly. And the last thing I'm gonna do is go check to see if we have any spare materials in our storage. It's always good to check back and use some of the stuff that we already have. Oh yeah, we got lots of stuff we could use. Now to differentiate this build from some of the other stuff that we have going on in this area, I think I'd like to try to use some deep slate as well. However, my inventory is looking pretty full, so we'll have to come back for this. All right, we are clearly just stacked for today with all of this stuff. I can't believe it. We have way more than I thought we did, to be honest. I am, however, getting pretty hungry. Sorry. You know I'm building a sheep farm today, right? You still want to stay here? I'm not gonna question it. Alright, let's start off by getting a footprint down. Now for this build, I think I want to do a stone trim around the base. And I'm just gonna use a nice mix of stone bricks, cobblestone, and andesite. I think the bricks should give it that classic feel, while the cobblestone and andesite will make it feel a little bit more rundown and old. Yeah, I feel like this is the perfect placement for this build. You seem to like it too, don't ya? So now that we've got our footprint all done, we can begin building this thing up. So I'm gonna kick things off by building up the beams and the walls first. Alright, here's what we have for the shape so far, and I know it's looking kind of awkward right now, but that's because I want to do a little bit of a curved roof on the entryway. I think roof shape will definitely be one of those things that will help differentiate this build from the other ones that we have in the farmland. So this roof is going to start very low on the structure, and I'm going to use slabs to slowly curve it up until we reach a couple blocks in where I'm going to make it really steep using planks and stairs. Alright, now how's that looking? Ooh, yeah, I think that is perfect. I love that. That's gonna look so much better once it's all filled in too. Alright, now onto the roof for the main part of the structure. I'm just gonna keep this one super simple by using slabs to slowly curve upwards, very similar to what we have with the barn and the sugarcane farm. Basically, I'm gonna keep this roof a lot more shallow, so it will pretty much evenly meet with the entryway roof of this build. It's all pretty much still a skeletal structure, but you can kind of see the direction this is going in. But we're about to fill this roof in, and you'll really start to get the picture of where we're going with this. So pallet for this rooftop. And of course, I want to integrate the brick and granite into this build, although we probably only need granite for this, especially because I want to mix in another block type on this rooftop. Now, I was kind of thinking that deep slate and granite go really nice together. Put these two beside each other and you can see they really pop and give a lot of contrast next to one another. So the way that we can effectively incorporate two very different types of blocks into this roof is divided up using spruce slabs. So for example, let's throw down a chunk of granite right here, and then we'll use our spruce slabs to make this a little divided section, where next to it we toss in some deep slate. Now of course, to connect this all properly, I think we're gonna have to go deep slate on the front part of the build, and then we'll take a look at how these two combined work together. Alrighty, let's take another look here, and bam! Okay, you can't really see it from down here. Let me free cam really quickly. I mean, we got a little bit of shadows on it because of the sun. I probably should have started with this side first. But you can see because we have this division with the spruce, we're able to combine two very different blocks together within this roof. I think it's looking pretty cool. All right, let's finish this roof up. Alright, I would say that the structure is pretty much done and it's looking really good. Let's do a little walk away from it, see what it looks like from the path, and yeah, I think we made the right decision with which way to face it. I think it just brings a little bit more interest to this area. Alright, we are good to go. So I think the next thing that we need to work on for this build is the redstone components of this farm, because that's what's going to dictate what the interior of this build is going to look like. So we're going to have to grab our redstone materials. We're gonna have to make some observers. Let's start with 5, and also we're gonna need some dispensers. And for that, I need some bows. And it's a good thing we have plenty of those in our skeleton farm. Yoink. And since we're here, there's a couple other things we're gonna need. So we're gonna need some glass and some gold for powered rails. Now let's get our dispensers made, and next we'll craft ourselves some extra hoppers. And then we're gonna have to start making rails. So we're gonna need some powered ones to keep the hopper minecart moving back and forth. And then with that, we're gonna need some regular rails in between. So I think we got pretty much everything we need for this farm. So the first thing that we're gonna do is lay out these quadrants for the sheep. And I think we might actually be able to fit 6 in here. So we're gonna have to make a couple more redstone components if that's the case. So the first thing I'm gonna do is lay down an observer. So let's take a look to make sure. Yep, the little face is pointing towards the grass. And we're good to go. Next, what we have to do is put a dispenser on top. And then we're gonna sprinkle some redstone down behind the dispenser. So basically, the observer notices that the grass is turned to dirt when it's eaten by the sheep. And once that happens, the redstone sends a signal to the dispenser to shear the sheep for its wool. I'm not a redstone expert, so I hope I'm explaining this right, but that's the gist of it. Now, as you can see, this redstone signal is kind of technically sitting outside of the build, but honestly, I wanted to keep this build in general just a little bit smaller in terms of scale. So to make it so we still have enough room on the inside to decorate it, I just kind of figured it would be a little bit easier to cover it up with leaves or something on the outside. Plus, when we need to refill our dispensers with shears, we can actually more easily access them from the back of the build. So next, all we really have to do is get our rail collection system in. Let's pop the chest down that the wool will feed into, pop the hopper down that's gonna funnel the wool into the chest, and then from there, we're just gonna pop down the rails that are gonna sit underneath the farm. Now let's give these bad boys some power, and let's see if this works. Well, is it gonna make its way back? Yep, there we go. Okay, it works. So with our collection system running underneath, I think we can patch this back up again. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and install the rest of this farm, and then we should be able to get our sheep in here soon. All right, that's all in place, and I think it's looking good. So before we get the rest of this farm in, I think I'm gonna put the flooring down first. And I think I'm just gonna go classic spruce because it'll be easy to decorate around. And now that that's all in place, let's get these glass quadrants in for the sheep. One last piece of glass? That's it? Why? I was so close to completing that. Sometimes this game do be like that though. All right, let's grab a little bit more sand for like one piece of glass. And we'll just pop some of this in. And one last piece of glass going in right here. Boom. All right, our quadrants are all done. And now I think we're ready to move the sheep in. And boy, oh boy, it's a good thing I have all of these leads that mysteriously made their way into my inventory. I don't know how. So instead of breaking this pen just now, I saw a couple of stray sheep hanging around. I think I might grab these guys first and try to get them into the quadrants, just so we're not breaking this and it's just total chaos around here. Let's take the easy route. Hello, my little friend. Come over here, would you? All right, would you kindly come on over into this area away from the rain? Look at that. You have a nice little home to live in. You are gonna love it here. Absolutely gonna love it. So if you just follow me, please and thank you. What is the best way to do this? Can I just push you, perhaps? Oh, it worked. Nice. Okay, perfect. Well, we got the first sheep into the first quadrant. Now what we're gonna have to wait for it to do is eat that grass. So it turns into dirt and then it will get sheared, except I just realized it won't get sheared because I don't have any shears in there. You know, that's a little bit of a problem. In order for this to work, we need shears in there. You know, if you wanna bunch that grass, that would be nice, just so I can make sure everything's working. Don't you want a little snack? Come on. Yes! It worked! Oh, and I think it got collected too. Let's go over to our chest to see if the wool got dispensed. And it did. Look at that. All right, so we got our very first sheep in there, which is perfect. Now we just got to do that 5 more times and we're good to go. And it looks like here is our sheep number 2. Let's get you in here. Please. Let's go. Number 3 coming right up. Flawless execution. Except I'm a little stuck here. There are just so many sheep around this base. I don't even have to take any from the pen. Look at this. Come on, come on. Oh. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we're done. So before we add shears to all these quadrants, I just want to dye some of these sheep. Basically, the colors that I chose are pretty much just my favorite ones for decorations. I most frequently use all these colors for carpets, beds, and just other decorations. And honestly, I could have built a farm that would have had all of the wool colors, but I think it would have just been too much wool that I would have never used. So I think this setup is perfect for me. Now I'm filling up all the dispensers with shears, but I think I may have made a bit of a mistake. The sheep have eaten the grass, which is great. However, it's not growing back. And I'm pretty sure it's because these spots of dirt need more grass around it in order for it to grow. So I'm gonna bring some grass back into the space, and then hopefully if we give it some time, it'll grow back. Oh, it works! So now all I have to do is finish replacing this, and then we can place all of the shears in the dispensers, and I think we're good to go. Here we go, now we're rolling. So now that we know this works, let's get a bunch of shears. And I'm gonna make sure each dispenser has at least 2 sets of shears in it. That should keep this thing running for a while. And I think we are all set and ready to go. These guys just need to eat their grass once it actually grows. It is taking a little bit longer, but I do think that it will grow back eventually. The one at the end did, I just didn't have any shears in it. So I think it's just a matter of being patient right now. But now that all of the redstone is done, we pretty much just have to decorate this place and then we're all done. I don't know why, but I've been really itching to get started on decorating the exterior. So I think I'm gonna go with that first. So let's of course kick this off by actually connecting this path over here. And yeah. I mean, this thing doesn't even have proper windows or a door yet. So let's get started with that. And we'll get a nice little planter above this window. And let's get some walls at the front of the build as well as in the corners. This will give us some nice shape and also allow us to put some things on top like flower pots and lanterns. Next, I'm going to pop some garden beds at the front and sides of the build. And I'm just going to toss down some fencing in front to make it a little bit more enclosed. The fencing won't fully connect to those walls that we have in place. However, I don't really mind that. I actually like the look of it. All right, let's get some of our smaller details in to really pull this all together. Alright, so the exterior is all decorated and I think that's looking great. Now there's one last thing we need to do, which is finally give these guys a proper home. So let's build them the big old pen that they deserve. There, I think that's looking a lot better than the sad square they were living in before. One last thing, I want to give them a little bit of shade by planting some oak trees. Now all we gotta do is grab a little piece of wheat. Okay, maybe a couple, because we probably should feed these sheep too. I mean, after all, they've been living in that pen for so long, I think they deserve a treat. Let's go ahead and break this. And would you all follow me? Let's go, let's go. You guys are gonna love this. Oh, wait, I completely forgot. Oh no, this is not gonna bode well for me. All right, we're just gonna roll with this. The saplings haven't grown and I kind of forgot about that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just box this in really quickly. You saw nothing at all. All right, let's make a little piece of carpet and let's just pop that right about here. Oh, excuse me. Okay, well, not there. Right there. So we can easily get in and out. And also, oh, there you are. Perfect. Let's get you guys in here as well. And then we're pretty much good to go. All right, let's feed you guys because you all did such an amazing job. Oh my gosh, baby sheep are just the cutest thing in the world. I can't. Does anybody want this last piece of wheat? Do you? There you go. Oh, I was just about to bone meal these trees and it looks like one finally grew. And last but not least, let's see if I can bone meal this one. Perfect. And while we're at it, let's bone meal some pretty flowers here too. Look at that. They love it. Since we have access to this part of the farm, I think what we should also do is carve out a little bit of a path here as well. So everything is now all connected. And I think that this is looking great. I think the one last thing I would like to add to the exterior is something else that would kind of help further signify that this is a sheep farm. So I think maybe laying down some barrels and wool would be kind of cool. As if the wool is an item waiting to be shipped out. To make the wool look like it's ready to be shipped, we can also wrap some signs around it. That way it looks packaged and ready to go. Yeah, that looks really cool. All right, so I would say that the exterior is pretty much done, which means now it's time for us to fix up this interior and make it really come to life and look like a proper sheep farm. All right, I'm gonna spend some time trying to figure out a good layout for this, and then we'll see what we've got in the end. All right, the build is all done and ready to go. And honestly, I think this is a really nice addition to our farmland. One of my favorite things about building in a world is honestly having all of these builds pop up one by one and really transform the space around us. Slowly but surely, we're chipping away at this farmland area and it's all coming together so nicely. So the outside you all pretty much saw because we worked on this together. We've got our lovely spot for all of our sheep to roam free within this grassed area over here. They also have a couple shaded spots as well so they could keep cool on the warmer days. And over on the other side, we just have a little decorative excess storage area right here. Nothing too fancy, just wanted to keep it simple, but I also did connect the path, so everything is fully connected now, and I love how the pathing is looking around this area. It's really starting to come together. All right, let's go take a look at what we did for the inside. So I kept this all relatively simple and very open. So pretty much all I did was add some columns around each quadrant, just so they looked like they were all confined within their own little space. And I think that looks really clean. Plus it allowed me to add a bunch of decorations around the top, some lighting, some leaves in between, and I think it turned out looking pretty clean. I did end up leaving the rest of it kind of open concept so you could see the roof, just because I kind of felt that kept in theme with the farmland area. You know, the only thing that I would have changed though is add a little top part to the beams right here, just so it's divided up a little bit more. Then we can just add like a couple of crunchy leaves to the top right here. And I think that's looking pretty good. See, there's always something extra to add to these interiors. Well, at least for me. I feel like I'm a little bit of a perfectionist with this stuff, so it's hard for me not to just continually add or change things around. I don't know. But yeah, basically I just ended up decorating this with more of our piles of wool and some storage. I added a couple cute plants around, lots and lots of lighting, shelving, leaves. I wanted this to look a little bit more overgrown because we're in the farmland, and I think things should still look a little bit messy. Oh, and I also ended up moving our collection chest down over here. It was originally close to this one, and I felt like it was just a little bit too awkward having a set of stairs going down right in front of the quadrants. So I just attached some hoppers all the way down and funneled everything into this chest over here. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and I think it all came together really nicely. It feels super cozy, rustic, and most importantly, it's a working wool farm. All right, everyone, I think that's gonna be it for today's episode. I had a ton of fun working on this project today, and I hope you all enjoyed it too. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Bye!